Now, March Madness continues to be in full effect, and we're not just talking about the postseason and the Final Four.
The UNM men's basketball team has a new head coach. Lobo Nation is abuzz right now.
Eric Olen.
Eric Olen.
Eric Olen.
Eric Olen will be the 23rd head coach in school history.
Hey, take your pick. Hey, we bringing the city out. Who we gon' get? Hey, home of the hey, they get more time. It goes down in the mid. Hey, come take your pick. Hey, my city here.
How are you? Good to see you. How's it going? Hey, Leanne, how are you? Great to meet you.
You say hi, man?
It is official. Lobo men's basketball has its next head coach.
Olen heads to Albuquerque after 11 years with the University of California at San Diego.
Olen will inherit a Lobo program that has made 2 consecutive appearances in the Big Dance. Olen said the UNM job is one of the most special programs in college basketball.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. What a day. We really have to quit. We really have to stop meeting like this. So, I am, in all seriousness, so glad to see you here and glad to see everyone here so quickly. Can you believe that it was only a week ago that we found out that we needed to search for a new basketball coach? But are you surprised about the timing? This is what Fernando Lobo does, our Vice President and Director of Athletics. Yes. It really wasn't that long ago. In fact, Fernando reminded me that it's been 4 months since he started. And I introduced him here in the pit. And then, only 4 months ago, he'd only been on the job about a week, and we said, hey, we need you to find a great new football coach. And he did that. We have a terrific new coach. So now, okay, Fernando, time to do this again. Find us a head basketball coach who isn't just great at drawing up plays or deciding whether to guard an inbound pass, but is really the right fit for us. Someone who understands the role of athletics at the University of New Mexico, who values and nurtures the student part of the student athlete, who can engage with Lobo Nation and the New Mexico community, and who can fully appreciate just how seriously we take our Lobo basketball. Someone who knows what kind of fishbowl we're in, the microscope you're under every time you walk down the ramp of that deafening roar in the pit. So it's exciting. Maybe it's intimidating. We hope it's intimidating to the other teams, that's for sure. And I'll tell you, everybody tells us this. This is unlike any job in coaching in college athletics. It's a special job that requires a special coach. And Fernando has found him. And now, a week after learning that we had an empty red blazer available, I am pleased to be here with Fernando to introduce Eric Olen, who's going to be filling this role. And I'm going to let Fernando tell you about him and what it took to bring him here. But I do want to say you're going to be impressed. He brings with him a culture of excellence, both on the court and in the classroom, a proven winning record, and an absolute ability to build and sustain a fantastic basketball program. In short, he's exactly our kind of coach. And now he's our guy. And it's a pleasure to welcome him and his family to the Lobo community. So to tell you more about our new coach and the journey that brought him to us, it's my privilege to bring to the podium a man who seems to be in constant motion. He is in constant motion. Our Vice President and Director of Lobo Athletics, Fernando Lobo.
Good afternoon, everyone. Great to see everyone here today. So before we get going, I just want to make sure that everybody was able to find their way to the Davalos today, okay, without too much trouble. So after holding so many press conferences in the club level at the pit over these past few months, we figured that a change of scenery might be good for everyone, and at the very least, that it would keep you on your toes. So appreciate you for making it here today. But again, thanks to everyone for being here. It's a special day for Lobo Athletics and our entire university community. Whether you're a student athlete, coach, staff member, donor, or fan, we're grateful you made time on a weekday to share this moment. Your presence and support are part of what makes this place so special. I want to start by thanking President Stokes for her incredible support of athletics. She is steadfast, visionary, and passionate about what college athletics means for our university and this great state. President Stokes, your leadership makes days like this possible, and I am deeply grateful. Thank you. So President Stokes mentioned this, but today actually marks 4 months on the dot that I stepped into this role. And let me just say, it's been a busy 120 days. 2 head coaching hires, multiple conference championships, and individual accolades across several programs for our student athletes. It's safe to say we've hit the ground running. It is a great time to be a Lobo, and that momentum starts at the top. With our president and university leadership, I could not be more energized about the direction we're heading. I also want to thank the group that worked closely with me throughout this process, each of them bringing a deep basketball background as a Division I player, coach, or director of operations. Ryan Berryman, Amy Beggin, Jalen Dominguez, and Ed Manzanares, thank you for your insight. For your perspective and your commitment to getting this right. And of course, thank you again to President Stokes and Board of Regents Chair Paul Blanchard for your support every step of the way. Now I want to take a moment to thank Coach Richard Pitino and his family for 4 fantastic seasons. Coach Pitino poured his heart into this program and helped elevate Lobo basketball back to a national stage. He's a phenomenal coach, a great person, and a friend, and we wish him well. Now, as all of you know, Lobo basketball is more than just a team. It's part of the identity of this university, this city, and this great state. It connects generations, creates memories, and represents the pride of New Mexico. That is why this hire was so important, because we owed it to our fans, our student athletes, and this community to find the right leader. During our search, we prioritized certain characteristics, qualities that matter in building something lasting. We were looking for someone who values connectivity with the community, someone who leads with integrity and vision, a tireless recruiter, a teacher and developer of players, a coach with a deep basketball mind who brings a strategic edge to every facet of the program, not just in offensive and defensive tactics, but in player acquisition, sports science, and the holistic development of our student athletes. Coach Eric Olen is all of that and more. He's a proven winner and a program builder. Over more than a decade as a head coach, he's led his teams to 9 conference championships and 6 postseason appearances across both Division I and Division II, earning 6 Coach of the Year honors along the way. His teams play the right way, smart, connected, and disciplined. They defend, they share the ball, and they're a lot of fun to watch. This past season, UC San Diego went 30-5, won the Big West regular season and conference tournament titles, and made their NCAA tournament debut. They finished 35th in the net and 39th in Ken Palm, 2 nationally respected metrics that underscore just how elite that season was, and the highest rankings of any of the teams outside the Power 5 in the West Coast Conference in those 2 metrics. Lobo Nation, I'm just telling you, You're gonna love what you see in the pit. But beyond the X's and O's, what stood out to everyone I spoke with about Coach Olen was the kind of person he is. Humble, passionate, and driven. A coach who leads by example, who connects with his players, and who understands the opportunity and responsibility that comes with this role. When you spend time with him, you'll see what we saw. A great coach, a role model, and a family man through and through. Which brings me to his family. His wife, Lauren, and their two beautiful daughters, Avery and Madeline, were so excited to welcome you to the Lobo family. And the real MVP, Coach Olen's mother-in-law, Leanne, who's here with us today. Thank you for believing us, being here today, and the support that you've given along the way. All right, so now let's get to it. Lobo fans, this is an exciting new chapter for our storied program. We are building something special, and I cannot wait for you all to get to know the incredible person and leader who will be guiding this program forward. It is my absolute honor and pleasure to introduce the 23rd head men's basketball coach of the University of New Mexico, Coach Eric Olen.
Thank you. I'd like to thank everyone for being here today. This is truly an honor. My family and I are so excited to be part of Lobo Nation. Family is the most important thing to me. I want to begin by thanking mine. Never be in this position without my wife, Lauren, daughters, Avery and Madeline, who are here with us today. They make a lot of sacrifices, and their support means the world to me. I gotta be honest, it might take me a minute to get used to this jacket. It's the first time I've worn red in over 20 years. I also want to thank President Stokes, Fernando Lobo, and his leadership team for believing in me and affording me the opportunity to lead this program. This is a special opportunity that This is a special opportunity, and I don't take your trust for granted. You win with people, and in each step of this process, it was clear to me, these are the right people. We're coming from San Diego, but I grew up in Mobile, Alabama. We were not a basketball family. In fact, the first sport I can remember playing was tennis. My parents gave lessons. My sister and I were always at the courts from a young age. But I was drawn to team sports. Given the choice to play tennis with my parents or basketball with my friends, it wasn't much of a contest. You'd realize how quickly I abandoned tennis for hoops if you saw me try to hit a serve today. Basketball quickly became my focus, and I wanted to play as much as possible. As a kid, I participated on 3 teams at a time. My parents went to great lengths to allow me to play as much basketball as I could. I can remember going from one game to the next on Saturdays, occasionally having to leave one early or start the next one late. It would have been easy, probably reasonable for them to say no when I asked to play on the second team or the third team, but they always found a way to say yes. I wasn't a great player, but I did get the chance to play in college. The head coach that I was committed to play for actually left the summer before my freshman year. That was a long time ago, and there was no transfer portal. So I just showed up anyway without ever meeting the head coach. Fortunately for me, that new head coach was Bill Carr. You need a little luck in life, and I've had more than my share. I am eternally grateful for Coach Carr thinking of me when he became the head coach at UC San Diego. He asked me to come to San Diego and be an assistant. That invitation 21 years ago changed my life. 21 years is a long time. We left a place that we love. UC San Diego is home for us. We care deeply about the place, the program, most importantly, the people. There are far too many to thank, and I appreciate brevity too much to try. But one person I want to thank and congratulate is Clint Allard. He was a freshman on the first team I coached as an assistant. So he's literally been there from the start, and now he's the new head coach at UCSD. Thank you. Sunday was a special day because it was the start of this journey for us. But his promotion was another highlight for me. No one is more deserving. I've been fortunate to coach a lot of great players. Players win games. I wouldn't be here if we hadn't won a bunch of them. I'd like to thank all the guys who played at UC San Diego and helped build that program. You guys are why we do this. It's funny how you get back so much more than you put in when you invest in others. I couldn't have asked for better people to invest in and work with on a daily basis. My goal has always been for everyone that was ever connected to our program in any way to at least something with them that helped them in their lives after they moved on from us. I believe in leaving things better than you found them. I'm proud that we did that at UC San Diego. I plan to do the same thing here. But this is not my program. It's not about me. This is bigger than any single coach or individual. Lobos, this is your program. Being the head coach here at New Mexico is a responsibility I take very seriously. And that's how I know I'm in the right place. I love being part of something bigger than myself. It gives me so much purpose every day. And we're going to fill our coaching staff with people who think the same way. Servant leaders who put players first and understand that we represent all of Lobo Nation. This is a championship program. Richard Patino and his staff did a terrific job. And they've been great in trying to help us hit the ground running. They've set the bar really high. But that's where it should be here. No one will ever have higher expectations for our team and this program than me. I love the passion and ownership from our supporters. The best fans in the country deserve a team that walks into the pit with the same energy and enthusiasm that you do. A team that shows a care factor that rivals yours. Walking onto the floor last night gave me chills. I'm so fired up to feel it in person. When the lights come on, our team will play with toughness, discipline, and physicality. We want teams that connect to you as Lobo fans by bringing relentless competitive spirit and a connectedness for 40-plus minutes that opponents can't sustain. We will recruit players with a chip on their shoulder. I gravitate towards players who have something to prove and work every day to become the best versions of themselves. I mentioned that players win games. I know that to be true. I try not to get in the way. I try not to overcoach. Instead, we will empower our players to make winning plays. We want them to play with pace and freedom. I like to say if the clock's running, we're running. Doesn't mean we never run any plays, but I try not to stop the game and disrupt the flow. Past teams I've coached have been on the high end of three-point volume. We believe in being aggressive from behind the line. That helps us create efficient offense. We created turnovers at the third highest rate. Turned defense into offense, making us one of the most explosive teams in the country. The metrics matter, and we have to find ways to be efficient on both sides of the ball. Hopefully we can maintain the level of free throw defense from last season. I can't give specifics on how this upcoming team will play because we have a lot of work to do before we will know what the roster looks like. But I can tell you that our schemes on both ends will be tailored to fit our personnel and put our players in position of strength. We have a lot of work ahead of us, but we're going to continue to play great basketball here. We can't wait to write the next great chapter in New Mexico basketball history. Go Lobos.
All right, we have a microphone. Start here. I know there's a few media members. Affiliation. Question and a follow-up. Yeah. Start with Lee.
Lee Faria, the NBC affiliate here in Albuquerque. Coach, in those 21 years, why was New Mexico the right place to be?
Well, I think the passion and support from the fans here, just what it means to be a Lobo and the history and tradition of New Mexico basketball. This is one of the best jobs in all of college basketball, you know, and it would take a special place for us to leave. We loved it in San Diego. We have a lot of pride in the things that were happening there, and that place is on a great trajectory. But this is different. This is special, and it was an easy choice.
You mentioned that you're going to play fast, and all of us get calls every day going, well, what's the style? You know, what style is he going to be? So you said you want to play fast, but break that down. What does that mean?
Yeah, so there's two sides to the pace. There's the offensive side and the defensive side. Our total pace, like might not be tops in the country, because defensively we expect to be hard to score on, and so it takes them a little bit of time to get a quality shot, or then we might be slower in terms of our defensive possessions and the length of those possessions. But when we get the ball, we're in a hurry, and we want to keep pressure on the defense all the time, right? We want to be aggressive defensively, turn defense to offense. Byrne mentioned KenPom. There's lots of different metric websites out there. One of them is Evan Maya, talks about kill shots, which is like a 10-0 run. We were one of the top 5 teams in the country in kill shots and percentage of kill shots relative to giving up. So we want to be explosive. We're going to take high-value shots, and we'll take those early in the clock, but we're not going to be reckless with that. So our pace will depend on a lot of factors, but we want to keep pressure on the defense, start to finish in all those possessions.
Jeff Grammer, Albuquerque Journal. Nice to meet you. Welcome to New Mexico. Hitting the ground running means recruiting portal's already open. When do you start announcing who might be on your staff? Do you already have anybody on your staff? And what's the approach to that portal?
Yeah, we're working through all of that all day, every day right now. So we're hoping to have some announcements soon, and I'm excited about the staff that we're going to put together. Yeah, recruiting is nonstop. We're working through the portal. But we have to make good decisions, right? We have to be smart about how we approach and build the roster. We want to build the roster that complements each other, that makes sense in terms of the combination of skill sets. And so we are going to work with urgency, but we're going to be thoughtful in our decision making and recruit the right people that fit what we're trying to do. So we're working at that constantly. We hope to have that done as soon as possible, but we aren't going to allow the timing and the pace to put us into a situation where we make bad decisions.
And then a follow-up on the recruiting. You obviously know a lot of these coaches. It's not like you didn't know all these West Coast coaches and all that. How do you expand the net of who you're going to be contacting recruiting-wise now? And how many of the people that you were recruiting at UC San Diego will be the same level of player that might be able to work here? And how many might you not recruit here that you were recruiting there?
Yeah, well, it's a different level. And I don't know the specifics or percentages of how many, but there's certainly some guys that were at UC San Diego that could play in the Mountain West. There's lots of players in the Big West who could move up and have success. There's other guys at other levels who might move down. Like, there's so much movement in all directions in college basketball right now. And yeah, we've spent a lot of time on the West Coast, but the transfer portal and the college basketball landscape is expanding beyond regions. And we expect to put a great team together, regardless of where guys are from or where they've been in the past.
Van Tate, CBS, KRQE, TV 13. With this era of NIL, do you know how much of a budget do you have to go into the portal and get some things done because of how a lot of people left?
Yeah, we have the resources to build a great basketball team here, and we're going to allocate those resources appropriately, thoughtfully, and again, make sure that our roster is complementary and that it makes sense, not just for us as a whole, but so that we perform as a group that's greater than the sum of our parts.
And as far as players that are staying, what kind of numbers are we talking about, and how many players do you expect to come from your team?
We're having all those conversations consistently all day, every day. So I'm working through it. I'm excited to be here, looking forward to meeting with a lot of the players and having those conversations. So yeah, that's an ongoing process.
Coach, congratulations on your new position. Roger Holian, Mountain West Wire and the Mountain West Connection. What are your initial thoughts on what you've seen so far? You've got chills in the pit. how familiar you are with the Mountain West. Obviously, you had San Diego State right there in your backyard, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's been amazing. We're getting close to 24 hours here, but it's, but we couldn't have asked for more to this point. So, yeah, we have plenty of familiarity with the Mountain West. San Diego State is a game that we played at UC San Diego pretty regularly. We played at Utah. We won at Utah State last year. There's great teams, great coaches, great players in the Mountain West, and we expect to compete at a high level with all of them.
Coach Will Weber from the Santa Fe New Mexican. 21 years is a long time to spend in any one location. They could practically build a bronze statue out in front of the gym for you. So what was it that convinced you to come here? And beyond that, who took more convincing, your wife, your daughters, or your mother-in-law?
I'm not sure how much, I mean, we love Leanne, and she is the MVP of this, but I don't know how much she was consulted in the... No, it's just, we talked about it. This is a special place in terms of college basketball. It's arguably the best home environment in all of college basketball, and I think anyone who's in coaching, and working their way up. I spent a lot of time at Division II. You dream about an opportunity like this, you know? So we loved UC San Diego. We still care about it. But this is different. This is special, and it was too good to pass up.
Now, look, you're in San Diego. You have access, I'm assuming, to Brian Dutcher. Did you consult any of the other coaches? Just kind of do your own research about New Mexico?
No, I didn't factor in any of the other teams' opinions.
Coach, Rick Wright, Albuquerque Journal. Just to kind of follow up a little bit on Will's question, this is going to be a major lifestyle change for you and your family. You grow up on the Gulf of whatever, basically in Mobile.
Gulf of whatever.
Now you've been in San Diego for 20 years. You're going to be beachless for the first time in your life. If anybody mentions Tingley Beach to us, don't get too excited. Like you said, you've been here 24 hours, basically. But in terms of lifestyle, are you prepared for the adjustment that this is going to require?
We're excited to be here. Everyone, my wife, my girls, our family, we are thrilled to be here. And I was told earlier that you guys have lots of beaches, just no water.
Coach Nick Nunez, Pit Press Podcast. First question for you, red or green chili? Are you excited to try it?
I'm fired up to try it. I would say prior to the taste test, I'm leaning green, but I've heard good things about Christmas, so I'm looking forward to it.
And then one more for you, Coach. When you were at UC San Diego over the last 2 years, you kind of built your roster from Division II transfers. Mm-hmm. You kind of talked about wanting to recruit guys with a chip on your shoulder. Do you plan on carrying that strategy over to UNM?
We're going to recruit the best players we can for our program. We built our roster based on the constraints and resources that existed in that environment, and we'll do the same thing here. Those are not exactly the same, and so we'll evaluate who are the best players that fit the way we want to play, and that fit into the constraints and resources that we have here, and build our team that way. So is it possible that we'll have guys from Division II? Absolutely. I think we'll have guys from all different levels, because there's great players that exist everywhere, and we're open to all of them if they're the right fit for us.
Coach, Tamara Lopez from KOB4 TV, NBC affiliate. Have you been able to talk to any of the remaining Lobo players yet? I know you just hit the ground running, but if so, what have those talks looked like, or what will they look like?
Yeah, a little bit, exchanging messages, couple of phone calls. That's high on the priority list now that I'm here to have those conversations, meet with those guys, and see what things look like going forward.
Jared Chester, KRQE News 13. With NIL, this is the new landscape of college basketball. How attractive was this position too, knowing that they have a collective here and there is funds on that end? Like, from your perspective, how big was that?
Yeah, it's certainly a factor in the process. I think, you know, the support here, the resources here make this one of the best jobs in college basketball. So it all factors in. Again, we didn't make this decision lightly. We were in a fantastic place for 21 years, but all those things factor into a decision like this.
Jeff Grammer, Albuquerque Journal again. You're going to hear from me a lot. The transfer portal creates pretty much, or the NIL world really creates a new position in college sports. Have you thought about a general manager position?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're considering lots of options for our staff in different roles. We had added that position at UC San Diego, and you know, it's certainly something that we'll consider as we're building the roster. But just like our team needs to make sense and be complementary, it's the same for the staff, right? Each decision and person that we add, their strengths and weaknesses and their skill sets factor into the next decision, right? So we're going to be really thoughtful and pragmatic about how we go about building the staff, and also try to do it as fast as possible.
I know you're an analytics nerd like I am. Is there one, Ken Palm, Evan Maya, is there one stat that fans should look at that's going to be most, I guess, identifies your team most, or you want, if things are good, that stat is the one to look at?
No, I can't give you one because it all matters. It's all connected. You know, if you have a good defensive team, then you're going to get more stops, and that's going to help your offense because you get in transition more. If you have a good offensive team and you can score the ball and they have to take it through the net, then now you get to get back and set your defense, and that makes you a better defensive team. So everything's connected. We have several kind of specific stats or metrics that we pay close attention to, sort of our KPIs for what we want from guys, and we think about that when we're building our roster. We think about those things when we're creating rotations and putting lineups on the floor. So we factor in a lot of information in how we both build the team and then, you know, the way we go about it on the court. But you can't really boil it down to just one thing.
And with that said, Coach, if you were doing a summary, identifying what kind of identity you want your team to have, if somebody wanted to just identify you guys in one sentence, how would you identify that?
Smart, tough, skilled. I think that's the kind of guys that I think will do well in our process and our program. Yeah.
And now that you have on the cherry blazer, you say you haven't worn red in about 20 years. It's just going to start a trend?
Well, yeah. I mean, I plan to wear a lot of red.
All right, I think I saw the amount of gear in your office. You have plenty of red.
For sure.
That should do it. A reminder, we have one-on-ones with Coach Olen, also with Fernando. Other than that, there's a ton of people here. Thank you so much for coming. This has been awesome. Go Lobos.